guys, welcome to my channel. My name is Arissa and this is ColourArte. And today I am making a belated Christmas present for a couple of friends of my husband and mine, Glenn and Cindy. They are just great people, and they got married last May, and not last May, sorry, May 2023. And I wanted to get them a gift, kind of establishing that they're married. So this is just a cutting board that I have. It's acacia wood. I don't know if you can tell, I've sanded the top where I'm gonna put an ocean theme, and then I'll probably burn their wedding date on there and their names on here. And it'll just be for decoration. But I typically, slurring my words a little bit, I want to paint an underpainting here, and I immediately grabbed my acrylic paint. So this is the iridescent blue green and the iridescent green blue by Pebeo. However, I kind of want to try my Purely Pigments and see if I can paint with them. So let me see which one. Do I have any in there? No. I grabbed a couple of colors because I can use them in resin too. So I want to see how they work if I just use them on the wood. I don't know if they'll work because I've never done it. So what I'm going to do is just this is a piece of wax paper under here, so it's not going to absorb. So I'm just going to give myself a couple little drops here and then see how this works if I just try to dye my wood with it, essentially. And so I'm just going to do that. I will use some water also to kind of, it works really well. That's really freaking cool. Oh my gosh. It works much better than I expected it to. So at the junction where I have two colors meeting, I'm going to use some water to kind of, I want to make sure I can put this back because I'll have to pick it up to color my sides, and I don't want to get you guys out of frame. So where the colors meet, I've taped the back, by the way, too. I'm going to spray it with some water to kind of loosen up the colors so they blend a little bit, maybe. I don't know if it'll work, but we're gonna try. And that was just like 2 drops of paint, of this pigment. This stuff is cool. Oop. Let me turn off my heat. I just realized you guys are probably hearing that. Well, it doesn't keep you in frame if I move this board. Or move my wax paper, huh? But that's okay. I think you can see it still. If not, I will double check in a second. But I just want to color under, have an underpainting to my wood a little bit. And then of course it'll be covered with resin, but I wanted some color on here. So it's not just, that looks so cool. It's not just brown wood when it comes to pouring my resin on. I'm gonna go in the hole too, because I like to have resin in the holes when I make a cutting board. If I go over a hole, I like it to continue there in part because it just feels more secure. Like the resin, because cutting boards have a finish on them, you always gonna wanna sand them down before you use it to put resin on it, just so you don't have any kind of relief action where your resin won't stick to your wood really. You don't want that. Let me make sure you're in frame again. Put that where I thought it needs to be. I think you are. Yeah, you're good. I'm gonna actually draw around if I can. It's okay. I'll keep it in frame. I'm impatient. I'm too impatient for that. So what I'm gonna do is get a little cup of water and my spray bottle, and I'm not going to spray the canvas yet, because if I can achieve a blending of colors just by wetting my paintbrush, I'll do that instead. So all I'm going to do is have a little bit of water there. I'm going to put my next Purely Pigment down, and I think I want my ocean to come right around at this little part in here. So there's some working space there too. Yeah, so I'm going to put one more drop of my blue down. I want it to go just a little bit further. And this is the Azure blue. I'm sorry, I didn't show you my colors. This is Azure blue, and then I have the Lagoon blue, and I have the Big Kahuna. So I'm going to go Big Kahuna next. Maybe. No, I'm going to go Lagoon blue next. So I'm going to put a drop of my Lagoon there. And, oh, see, it already got onto there. So I'm going to go Azure here. Wet my paint a little bit. Soften it up just a little bit. And then I'm going to go Lagoon right into it. Oh, yeah, that blended well. So then my Lagoon blue will be next. And then I still have the Azure blue on here. So it is still blending, which works well. So I'm going to paint, and I think now that I've done that and I've seen what it acts like when I actually just wet the paintbrush, even after I'm done, I'm going to take a wet paintbrush and kind of go over and soften all these edges. I'm going to take a little bit of my Azure and bring it into my Lagoon so it's not just harsh lines separating the colors, and it doesn't make sense that, you know, water churns. I don't think it would stay just completely starkly separated. So I'm going to take a little bit of my Lagoon and bring it up too. Alrighty, now I'm gonna do my big Kahuna. And I'll likely, like I said, I don't want to take too long for this, so I'm gonna take my heat gun and blow this dry and close all these really quickly. Make sure that I can get my resin mix. So let me grab my heat gun and plug it in here. And I'm just gonna blow this dry a little bit. All right, so I'm not gonna keep concentrating heat on there. I got the surface dry. So what, for the most part, it's a little bit. So while I'm waiting, I'm going to mix up like maybe 4 ounces of resin, not a lot of resin. I'm gonna let that really, really thicken up for a bit, and then I'll come back and we'll pour our first layer. I'll be right back. Hold on, please. Okay, so sorry about the noise. I have 4 ounces of my Total Boat Tabletop Epoxy resin. It has been sitting for 15 minutes. It's not yet hot. It's starting to warm up, which means it's gonna thicken up. So I'm just gonna pour some in, and I have too much, obviously, but I'm gonna pour some in each of these little cups so I can mix my colors, and then I'm gonna let it sit for another 15 minutes. So it really thickens up for me. I'm gonna mix my white. So I have 3 colors, the same colors I used to paint, and my white. That's all I'm gonna do in here. I don't need a lot, but I do want it. I really don't need a lot of white. I always mix too much white, and that's even probably too much, but that's okay. So let me grab some popsicle sticks here. There's definitely bubbles in this resin, but that's okay. It's a thick resin. Because it is tabletop, it thickens up very quickly, but also means that it bubbles up quickly. So because I'm going to make a thin surface, it's not going to be a big deal. So I'm just going to add a drop or 2 to each one of these colors. I don't want them to be opaque because I want that to be seen underneath. So that is 1 drop. And so you can still see the stick through. So I know it's not opaque, so I'm going to leave it like that. Typically, I would like a sparkle to it, but I don't want to do that on the first layer down. I'll do that probably on the second layer. This is my Lagoon blue that I did next. So I'll do 1 or 2 drops of this. 2.5. There. And then I'll do probably only 1 drop to start with for the Kahuna, I think it's called. What is it called? Yeah, Kahuna, the big Kahuna. Just because it feels like that's a little more of an opaque color. So I really don't want the opacity in this. I want to be able to see through. So that is good for that. And they're definitely getting warm. I can feel them warming up in my hand, which is perfect. I just want them thicker still because they're still not thick. So I'm not going to do that yet. So I'm going to start with 1 drop of the big Kahuna and add more to it if needed, which I will. But I just You see how much this one is just definitely brighter and it feels like it's more opaque. And actually, I'm not going to add another drop. I think this is good. Well, okay, I'll add one more drop just because it's going to be spread out. So it'll be thinner than what it looks like in this cup. So in the cup, you'll always, it'll always look like it's more opaque. But it will not be this opaque. And then for my white, I have my Let's Resin Ocean White. That's where I always am like, ugh, did I put enough? But I'm just gonna go for it. This stuff is just, it just spreads everywhere. I love it, but it's hard to control because there's so much pressure behind it. So I take off the lid and it immediately wants to pour. So I'm just gonna add just like 3 little drops there to start. I want this part opaque, but I don't want it too heavy because I don't want my waves to sink. There, that's good, I think. So I'm gonna just make sure that stays on there. Stir this in really well. And because they are getting warm, I'm still gonna give them another, I think I have 9.5 more minutes on my timer. So I'm gonna let them sit for 9.5 more minutes. So I will be back. Okie dokie. It's been a while. And so you see now my resin is super, super thick. That is what I want. So I'm gonna take this paper off and put it away. And we're just gonna spread this resin on here. Starting with my blue. I'm just gonna check my gloves because I've taken them off and put them on a couple of times. And I just wanna make sure I don't have any holes in them. Before I start spreading this resin with my finger. So here we go. I'm just gonna put my blue down. I'm gonna make sure I get it into the hole first because once I get all sticky, I don't wanna have to deal with putting my finger in this hole. Sorry, I'm immature. Anyway, that's what I said. So I'm just gonna spread it here and make sure I can get it all down the sides and around the sides. I love how thick this is. This is perfect. This is exactly what I want. I hesitate to touch the resin because I know once you do, you're just sticky for the rest of this project. And I don't want to be, but I also want to make sure I get all the edges. So I'm just going to actually go slow and see if I can use my stick here to do that. Because it is so thick, it doesn't run down as quickly, which is what exactly, that's exactly why you let it be thick, so it doesn't run amok on you. There we go. Okay, so for this portion, I wanted to fast forward because I'm just spreading resin, and you can see that middle, this color here, it flashed on me a little bit. So I did have some chunk wasted resin. So my resin went a couple of minutes too thick on me, but I'm going to use my heat gun. It'll lessen it a little bit, lessen the viscosity just a little bit to kind of help it blend. And then I'm going to use my torch to pop any bubbles before I put my clear down to create my wave. That's perfect. I like how it's blending. I'm going to shoot it with some fire really fast. There's a couple of little bubbles that I see that are under the surface because it's so thick. So I'm just going to get a little poking implement here. This is just a micro brush with the tip gone where I see bubbles under the surface, and I'm going to touch them. Now I'm going to throw my clear down and blow my white over it. So this portion, I actually ended up not using my respirator, which typically is fine because it's a small amount of resin in a very big area. My room is very big, but because this resin was so thick, when I put heat to it, it immediately wanted to start smoking. So this was dangerous for me, and I just didn't anticipate that the resin would be so thick. So this was my mistake. Wear your respirator, especially if you're putting heat to really thick resin, and proceed with caution, which I didn't do right here. It's time for the next step. This is a couple of days later. Usually with resin, if you pour a second coat on within that 24-hour range, you don't really have to sand it, but it's been a couple of days. So I sanded it down, including the sides, because the sides, if it's not, it's going to be compromised. It will be compromised on the sides. Certainly they can tend to peel up, and I don't want that. So I sanded it down with just some 320 grit sandpaper. And I have my colors that I'm going to use. I'm going to do a little more white, so I'm just going to get that mixed up. I certainly did wait a little too long last time, as you saw with the curing of the resin in that bowl, that cup. Come on out. So I won't wait as long this time to do this, because I don't want to lose resin like I did last time. So I've mixed up some more of my Total Boat resin. It is the tabletop resin, so it's really thick. So that is my white. And I'm using these pigments. I've never used them before. I got them a while ago. I don't even know what you would call it. It's YRYMHT. No, they're none of vowels to me. I don't know what that's called. So that's the pigments I used, and I'm using 3 colors. And then I got these no sink glitters from Temu. So I'm going to put a little bit of these in those colors as well. So I'll show you my colors. I am using, for my darkest blue, it is called Sapphire. And then my green tone, I'm going to use Fluorite. And then my other lighter blue, I'm going to use Aquamarine. And I feel like my husband's about to come in the room. So I'm going to shake these up. And I think they're alcohol ink. They call it resin pigment. However, they also say not to put them in direct sunlight. And that's typically true of alcohol ink because it will fade in sunlight. I'm just going to get a pen because I've never used them before, so I have to open them. If I can find a pen, I'll use a little push pen here. So I'm just going to push through these, open them up. Maybe, yeah, there you go. And let's see if I opened it before I continue. So my darkest, yeah. Just do a few squirts because I do want it clear. And that's why I didn't want to do like a mica, or, am I gonna sneeze? I don't know. This one is really dark. I may put some of the lighter blue in that one because I don't want it to be that dark. So I'm gonna do my Fluorite next. I've never, again, used these colors. Ooh, this cup, I used my cups from last time. I peeled out the resin and I'm just seeing this cup has a little bit of a leak in it. So let me switch that out here. This one was harder to get out, as you can see by the state of this cup. So let me pour that out, which is why I did not do this on top of my project. I don't want to put resin where I don't want it. So I tried to reuse you, however, did not survive. Yeah, there's a big giant crack on the side that I didn't see. All right, so let's do my green, my Fluorite. Pop it open here with this push pin. Oh, that one I went out the side, so I'm just gonna cut that one. Let's see what color I get here. That is a pretty green. I'm gonna put a little bit of this green into this blue to lighten it up a bit, or whoop, turquoise it up, I should say, a bit. Yeah, I like that color more. And I'm whipping the heck out of this color again. It's not going to matter so much because it's so thin on here. So it's not going to leave a bunch of bubbles in my piece. It would be deep. I just got off of work, y'all. And I'm on call tonight. Oh, I hope I don't get called into work. I'm a nurse, for those of you who don't know. But I don't know what I was saying. Oh yeah, because it's such a thin pour, I'm not gonna worry about blue, bubbles, because if it was deep, yeah, the bubbles wouldn't have enough time sometimes to come out before it starts to thicken up and cure. But this is a thin pour. Oh, that's a really pretty color. Ooh, that one's the Aquamarine. That one's a really pretty color. Maybe I'll throw some of that in this blue too. Let's just mix and mingle a little bit and see what we get. There we go. Yeah, I like that. That will look really well, I think, above that blue. And so now with these glitters, I just want to add a little bit. Sorry about the crinkling of this paper. That is about to happen. There we go. So I don't want a tremendous amount of sparkle. Oh, good. They're not. That one's not closed at least. So in the darker blue, yeah, this is my darkest blue. I'm just going to add a little tiny bit. I don't want a lot of sparkle, like I said. Just a hint. Oh, yeah. That is exactly enough. So let that go. And then for my green, I've got two choices here. I think I'm going to go this green here. That one's a little bright for me. And so this one's a little more muted, so I think it'll be a little better. And these don't have names, they just have numbers. And I've only got 6 of them, but the numbers are like 12 and 10 and 9 and 8 and 7. So I don't know what happened to 1 through 6, but I didn't get those. And then I will use 9 here for this lighter blue. And then I'm going to let these truly sit for only about 20 minutes. Last time I let them sit for like 25, approaching 30 minutes. So that was my fault for letting them sit so long. So I'm going to let this sit and I will be right back to pour. All right, see you soon. Okie dokie. It's been like 20 minutes. I'm not going to wait much longer or any longer than this. I just want to get it poured and go eat some dinner. So that is what I'm going to do. And they are warming up, so that is good. Off to the side here. Ooh, it went further than I expected. And that's okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put some clear in the center here. Again, just because I don't want to have to worry about the center. Oh, don't want that there. And that way, if resin is going to flow down, it's going to be able to flow, because resin, like acrylic paint, doesn't like a dry surface on which to work. So I'm just going to use, I'm not going to use much of my clear because I need it for my shoreline. So that's kind of all. Just put a little in there just because I did. There we go. Okay, so now let's put my first layer of color down, sticky. So that is this darker greeny blue color. So this is me layering colors again, like the first part of this. And so I don't want to have you sit through all this. I'm using my dark to medium to lighter color in that order. And then I'll put my clear shoreline first down, and then I'll torch it and pop the bubbles, because after I put the white down, I don't want to put too much heat on it to manage it. I just want the heat on it to create cells. So here we go. And before I blow my wave, I'm gonna go eye level and check to make sure everything is covered. Because once I blow my wave, I don't want to then add resin to it. I want it to be able to stay still. All right, and now I guess I should plug in my heat gun and blow off the dust again. Even though it's only been a couple of days, it's a couple of days of dust. Blow it off. Away from your painting or your piece. So I see an empty spot here. I'm gonna take this and come here, just so it is fully covered. There we go. I didn't look up top. Let me look up top here. Okay, I'm happy. Torch it one more time, and then I'll put my white down. All right, wish me luck. I'm trying to get right at the clear water's edge. This is where it gets hard to see it sometimes. So you just angle up, make sure you're still touching the clear. I'm just gonna go a little bit throughout at a different, because you know, waves don't form uniformly. Like that. I'm gonna torch it and then I'll blow it out. All right, let's go. Hi guys, I am back. This is the next morning, Saturday morning now, and I am now to the point where I'm going to put words on the back of this piece. So let me show you how it finished. Let me see. Can you see? It cured wonderfully. I love it so much. But now I'm going to work. I was going to put something on the front, but I'm not going to do that. So this is actually working surface because I've left so much of the raw wood. They can actually work on it. And so for the back, I took it outside in the fresh air. I sanded it down to get all these edges clean. I also sanded it down to take the finish off the back because I want to wood burn on the back. So you don't want to wood burn with any kind of finish on the back. So I sanded it down to its raw state. That looks amazing. I like the back, how it's turned out. That's the front. And so here are the words I'm going to put. Their names are Glenn and Cindy. They got married May 27th last year. I'm sorry, 2021. 2023. And then I put in the line from Corinthians, and now 3 remain: faith, hope, and love. The greatest of all of these is love. So I'm just going to, I put it through my Cricut, cut it out. I reverse weeded it so it becomes more like a stencil. And so now I've got some transfer paper, and I'm going to throw that on here. Let me grab a scraper. Okay. All right. I'm just going to grab one of my little scrapers here just so I can press down on here. And in order to get this transfer tape on somewhat successfully, you go ahead and crease here so you don't have too much tape exposed. There was a lot of weeding to do on this one, so I used my little pen type weeder. These kind, I love them. I got a bunch of them, like 10 of them or 12 of them from Temu for just a few bucks. So that is what I'm going to use. This doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be on there as flat as possible. And then you kind of burnish it down as you go. And then from the back, take a little more of this transfer tape off. Burnish it down. And then you can probably get away with doing it again, but I want this to be somewhat perfect, so I'm just going to go slowly and get that done. And now I really want this to be stuck, so I'm going to grab an actual burnishing tool here, and you just really press down. There's bits of resin under there. Let me get that out of my place. In order to get this off of here now, I'm going to peel the board from this. And that helps it so it doesn't curl up so much. Hang my board up here, my mat up here. And then, so I'm going to burnish this down again on here from this side. Because I'm not worried about the big size letters. What I worry about is like the dots, the insides of the E's and all those things. Those little things that can stick to your paper and then you don't realize they're not there. and that's annoying. So now, whoops, I'm doing it wrong. I got a pillow. I'm grabbing the whole paper instead of just this. I know I shouldn't be doing this with gloves on, but I just don't want any of my lotion or anything getting on any of this. So I'm going to make it difficult for myself and just pull this off more difficultly. So go slowly, keep your backing paper at a low profile. And that way when you see, like right there, something's coming up, you have the opportunity to go back and put it back down. Oh, good gracious, guys. It's been like 2 hours. Oh, my Lord. So my first attempt would not, it wouldn't work. I didn't like it. So I did another attempt. And so this time, instead of using that transfer tape, it's not a Cricut brand. And typically, if it's something big, I think it works really well. But because these are little tiny things, I think it just didn't want to work. So I am using masking tape this time. And we're going to see how this works. I'm just going to leave this on my grip here. My phone on vibrate. So people are texting me or something. And let's reverse this and peel it off. Hopefully better this time, because this was the point where it's like nothing would come off. It was really annoying. Everything was sticking. And then in the end, I was missing a part of my G. And that was just a pain in the butt. So ultimately, it had to be redone. All right, this is a tedious process, which no one needs to be subjected to if you don't have to be. So you'll see me go through, take the backing paper off of here, and on the next shot, I'll have the piece ready to be put on the board and get the masking tape off of there. Okay, bye. Okay, that took like 5 minutes. So much easier with the masking tape and peeling it from the front. So now I'm just gonna get this centered where I want it, which is difficult since I can't see through it. I want to make sure that all their names are on without me leaving little bits around. So I'm going to put my fingers. All right. I think I need to cut some of this off so I can see the edges easier. All right, this side off a bit, and then the top. There, that's easier. So now, I'm going to straighten this out to me. I think I like it there. Okay, now got to push this down one more time. The burnishing process in here, where you have to just keep on rubbing things, it's annoying, but it's worth it if I have things where I want, which is, this is not perfect, but I'm not going to go for perfection. I'm going to leave it there. I'm trying to make sure I have my little paint stands under, and I don't want to get onto the resin because it is fresh and it still will dent. So I'm trying to make sure I don't do that. So now all I do is peel off this masking tape, hopefully, and all the parts that I need to stay down will stay down. If not, I will burnish them on one more time. So like that. So again, I'll be back. I'm going to peel the tape off. I'll be right back.
shine the sun. The top that I've been looking for. I've seen you inside my dreams. So baby, come a little closer. Know that you are the only one.
Oh my gosh, finally. Thank goodness. So now, in order to burn this, I need to make sure I don't have any bubbles in the areas that are going to be tight, or that I'm going to be painting over with my burning gel. So I'm just going to go down and smash all these bubbles so I can get as good a finish as I can. I won't go for perfection, but as good as I can possibly do. So just going to smash them down as much as I can, making sure that I don't lose any bits in the end here. For like this piece that doesn't seem to want to straighten, I'm going to take my blade and cut it a bit. So hopefully, I don't care if the F is not perfect. I care that it is straight and flat right there, just like that. So let me see, I got all my bubbles down. Okay, oh my gosh. All right, so now I'm gonna put my burning fluid on there. I'm burning gel on there. Let me make sure I'm recording. Okay, I am. I made this gel out of Thicket, which is a food additive used to thicken up fluids. Some ammonium chloride and water. And you mix it in these parts. I weighed it by grams because I'm weird. So I have 3.6 grams of Thicket, 3 grams of ammonium chloride, and 2 tablespoons I weighed by volume of water. And so, I have it in this airtight gel or thing here. I'm gonna get a brush, and you can use your brushes and then just wash them off. So you don't have to worry about making sure that you have a special brush or anything like that. I'm just gonna get a little makeup brush type thing, make sure it's clean enough. And I'm gonna put a thin layer of this on there very carefully, just so, and so I'm gonna start it there, just so I can burn this with my heat gun after it dries. It's gonna take about an hour to fully dry. You want it to have want it to be fully dry, and it doesn't take a lot, so you don't have to go crazy. This stuff, once you make it, it lasts quite a while.
I wanna see your body move. Don't be afraid. Baby, keep the lights on. And baby, keep the lights on. So can't we keep the lights on? I wanna see you. This world can be an ugly place. Sometimes it brings out the worst in us. But when I see your pretty face, it all fades away. Let me climb up your mountain. Let me search through your valleys. I got my eyes wide open. Baby, don't hide. Baby, keep the lights on. Baby, keep the lights on. Can we keep the lights on? I wanna see you. Baby, keep the lights on.
Okay, I think I have it all covered. Put this away. Put that down for now. Now, I don't know if there's any kind of hard and fast rule about when you peel your stencil off, but I peel mine right away. I don't like to have it sitting on the board while it dries. So all that work to get this thing, and then it rips apart, which is awesome. Make sure you don't have any of the burning fluid on your gloves when you start touching the board around it, because if you apply heat to that part, it will burn.
Lights on. Can we keep the lights on? I wanna see you.
And, well, I will come back when it's time to scorch this. So I'll be back. Bye. Okie dokie. It's been a couple of hours now, and so it's completely dry. I have my heat gun ready and we're going to blow this over. Now, I'm not going to try to talk over this heat gun because it's just loud. Sorry, get my arm out of there. And so when you do this, you want to make sure you don't concentrate heat on one space for so long. You want to make sure that you're moving it constantly and letting it develop slowly. You don't want to try to overdo this or rush it. Just kind of let it go slowly. And we'll see what these develop to. So I will get started. Sorry, I want to double check and make sure. I'm always paranoid that I'm not recording. Like literally always. So here we go. All right, here we go. High heat. I'm sorry. Also, optimally, you should do this outside if you're going to be doing it for a long time. I forgot about that because it creates a lot of smoke. So I'm inside my art room. It's raining outside. So I'm going to get my respirator on really quickly. So I got my my mask here, and we'll put my respirator in place.
I wanna see your body move. I wanna see your body move.
Okay, so of course I've been waiting for a delivery all day, and as soon as I get 2 minutes into this part of this video, the delivery comes. I'll be back. Bye. Okie dokie, I'm back. Let's get this done. Let me throw my respirator back on before I forget.
I gotta see your body move. So can we keep the lights on? And baby, keep the lights on. And can we keep the lights on? I wanna see you. Keep the lights on. And baby, keep the lights on. And can we keep the lights on? I wanna see you. All lights on you. All lights on. And can we keep the lights on? I wanna see.
That actually did not produce as much smoke as I thought, and it turned out so wonderfully. I'm super, super excited about that. I'm going to let that cool just a little bit, and then I'm going to take some oil. What do I have? I have cutting board oil, and I have wax. Oh, which one do I want to use? I have both these. I think I'll use the cutting board oil. And once this cools a little bit, I'll do a quick coat. And then on the front, because I was pressing down and I was on those spikes, I got a few little bumps in here. So I think I'm going to sand this really quickly and throw some oil in that just so it's not so evident. So that's why I put it on there so I don't have as many pokes. But it turned out so well. You saw me go back over here because I wanted to darken a little bit. The darker you, if you want it darker, you hold that heat on it longer. If you want it lighter, you keep the heat light into a minimum. But, sorry, I just got some stuff on my iPad over here because I have my iPad on this desk, which is probably not a great idea, but let me get that off of there. All right, so I love it. I'm super excited. I'm going to get some gloves on and get this oiled. And even though this is just the backside, I'm still going to use a food grade oil just to make sure I'm not introducing anything chemical to their home. I don't want to do that. So all I'm going to do, read my directions really quickly. Yeah, use it, put it on there. That's what I'm going to do. So I'm just going to spray a little bit on there. And it'll definitely intensify the color of that. Oh, that looks so good. I love it. They said to do 3 to 4 coats if you want to really season it like it was a cutting board. But again, this is the back, so I'm not going to worry about seasoning it so much. But I'm going to go around the sides here because I did sand this. I want to make sure that, oh, that looks so cool. I love it. I just want to make sure that the sides are nice and protected from any kind of water. And they can just re-season this every once in a while. and it will stay forever and ever and ever. Amen. I love it so much. All right, so I'm going to turn this over. I'm going to do a quick sand. All right, so this video is long enough. For this part, I used a piece of 180 grit sandpaper, went really quickly over the edge, over the surface of it, and then I used my cutting board oil to do a quick coat on that one, and then at the end of this, I will show you the final result, and you can let me know what you think in the comments below. And also, like this video, please, if you'd like to, and comment or leave me a thumb, or, subscribe and all that good stuff. I never say that, so I would really appreciate that. Again, my goal is to get to 7,000 subscribers by the end of the year, so if you could help me out, that'd be super cool. Everybody says it's free, because it is free, and I would appreciate it. All right, thank you. Bye. All right. As I do, I prefer to do all my close-ups in the dark with my flash on. So this is the close-up of the actual ocean piece, which I am super stoked about how this turned out. The depth in it looks amazing. And then I'll flip it over, and there is the back. And I'm so happy, and you can see there's clean edges right there. There's nothing hard, nothing jagged. So they can have this forever, and I love it so much. Let me know what you guys, sorry about the state of my table. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Thank you for watching, and I will see you all next time. Bye.